welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is The Schiller, and we go over the timeline of X, whether it's about NFTs, whether it's about crypto, whether it's about anything blockchain related. Sometimes we bring up Pokemon, sometimes we bring up League of Legends, and sometimes we bring up stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with crypto as well, which neither of those two does. But anyway, election happened in the US last night. Holy smokes, apparently there was a record usage of X. A lot of conversations, a lot of commentary on what happened, and a very, very, very vocal group of crypto builders, in specifically talking about the potential deregulation and feeling safe to once again build. So we'll go over some of the different conversation pieces that we've seen, including headlines, and I appreciate you guys coming through. So just typing in crypto, thought let's just type that in, see what the news headlines are saying. Highlights about Dogecoin being the big jackpot after the election. Bitcoin absolutely surging. We got crypto euphoria, absolutely nothing else, just crypto euphoria as the headline, and I would agree. Charts have been going pretty nuts for almost everything. Go over on the NFT side. You have Florida jury finds co-creator of Undead Apes NFT guilty of wire fraud and money laundering. Okay. Can Solana's 51% NFT royalties boost demand for 51% NFT royalties? What? And then Ubisoft again, of course, still getting like thrashed in the headlines as per usual. Ubisoft NFT game rendered unplayable by a matchmaking bug. Okay. So Harry Liu made this, and this was about the promises at the Bitcoin conference in 2024. And this is an interesting post because I kind of forgot that happened and there was different claims being made. So things that were said on the first day, will dismiss Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. So again, Gary Gensler is not very well liked within the crypto industry. Obviously, several days ago, Immutable X getting, I don't know if it was like a Wells notice or a notice from the SEC as a whole that they were investigating them. And there's just all these regulation concerns around it and enforcement that people don't like in the industry. If I'm elected, I will establish strategic national Bitcoin reserves for the U.S. government. The U.S. government will keep 100% of the Bitcoin it holds, which I'm pretty sure there was conversations that I saw last night that was talking about like selling Bitcoin to deal with like the debt issue or something. Bitcoin will never be taxed. If that's actually the case, that is massive. Obviously, with politicians, you never really know if they're just saying things to try to swing a vote or if it's actually going to come into play. But not taxing Bitcoin, again, would really change the previous landscape within the U.S. around crypto. Bitcoin may one day surpass gold in value. I reaffirm my promise to reduce Ross Ulbricht's prison sentence during my presidency. There will never be a CBDC. If I'm elected, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will grow in ways never seen before. Bitcoin does not threaten the US dollar. The current US government does. The United States will become the global capital of cryptocurrency and world's Bitcoin superpower. Bitcoin represents freedom, sovereignty, and independence from government control and coercion. And I guarantee to the Bitcoin community that on the day I take office, the Biden-Harris administration anti-crypto campaign will end. So again, massive, bold claims being made. Does that hold up at all? That's kind of the question that I guess we have. Sassel saying, 1, Gensler fired and replaced with a pro-crypto SEC chair. 2, SEC lawsuits against Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, and others are going to be withdrawn. And 3, regulatory clarity for crypto put into place. A crypto golden age is about to begin. And there's several other posts that are kind of on the same tune. Arthur saying a golden age of crypto and DeFi begins today. Kalos of Parallel TCG saying the future is consumer crypto products. This includes games like Parallel and much more. The way is open, and this is all in reaction to what was going on with the election. Brian Armstrong from Coinbase. Yo, what's going on, Mr. Atari? Good morning. Hope you're doing well. So Brian Armstrong, again, head of Coinbase, saying, welcome to the new members of America's most pro-crypto Congress ever. 219 plus pro-crypto candidates and counting have now been elected to the House and Senate. Tonight, the crypto voter has spoken decisively across party lines and in key races across the country. Americans disproportionately care about crypto and want clear rules on the road for digital assets. We look forward to working with the new Congress to deliver it. And there's a screenshot that shows for the House of Representatives, the 205 of them are pro-crypto, with 99 being anti, while for the Senate, 14 are pro-crypto and 8 are anti, where before, I guess the numbers were vastly different than that as of stated right now. Naval saying upcoming deregulation wave will create an economic sonic boom. which is very interesting because, again, when we're thinking about DeFi, all of this kind of stuff, it is completely new territory where the Howey test, right, was pretty much the only thing that we had for crypto where new regulation needed to be being made or just kind of being more lenient with that. We'll see if that happens. Ian Bolina, who's kind of a content creator within the space, saying, mainstream media is shocked Trump is easily winning this. Watching them, you would think they're at a funeral. They're so biased they thought prediction markets would be way off. And I have to say, like, I was watching Meet Kevin, and if you guys don't know who Meet Kevin is, he's just like he's a guy, I guess, kind of like me that does these streams, but he does political commentary, and he was flipping through all the different news stations, and it was like really, really crazy watching that because I don't really watch like mainstream news whatsoever, to be honest, but the biases between like both parties were insanely obvious whenever it was put on and just like talking about things. And I'm like, man, like, again, I spend a lot of time on X. I get most of my information from there because it's people, it's thoughts, it's both sides of the aisle. And I don't mean necessarily for politics, but just in general. But seeing the mainstream news was really crazy last night. And this is why a Polymarket and Kalshi are the future. This is monumental for crypto as a use case, which again, for Polymarket, they were basically ahead saying like they think that Trump was going to win, and that ended up happening. Wayne Vaughn, for the first time ever, Bitcoin has the support of the US government. Today marks a new era. Imagine what we can build now that the government is on our side. And again, for anybody that doesn't know, there's a lot of issues that were happening with the previous administration that were like specifically attacking crypto, where it was kind of with the guise of this is supposed to protect investors, and 90% of the time whenever they went after a coin, it just completely like got decimated. A whole ton of legal fees, and 9 times out of 10 it was just you had to pay like a small fine, or they just dropped the case. So again, it was some of the things weren't necessarily great. But just for a breakup here for a second, Whale.mocha saying, if your hidden folder looks like this, no need to worry about the outcome of the election, bro. So Art Gobblers, this thing went for like 14 ETH at a point. Insider trading, I have no idea what was going on with that. Ended up completely going nowhere. Kind of looks stupid to begin with, but I mean, are we here for the art? Are we here for what we think is going to happen? Creature World for Danny... I'm forgetting his last name. It's not Danny Case. But there's a guy named Danny who's really into Creature World and got heavily shilled by Gary V at a point as well. But those things kind of had a huge rise in the knot. I don't really know what hype bears were. Hate Prime was one that was going for like 6-7 ETH for no reason whatsoever. PXN was one of those like anime styles at a time that it just started getting attention. Three Landers felt like it was kind of a Doodles clone. The team was trying, but they ended up folding. Mechaverse was the craziest mint we've ever seen in our lifetime, I think, where people were paying like 2 ETH and they were immediately flipping them for 10 plus. And then the team basically went nowhere and didn't actually do anything. And then Winter Bears was a smaller collection. It's part of like the Q collections, right? That didn't end up coming to fruition or being able to do more than just kind of creating some cool art. Over on the VV side, we're seeing some evolutions of things where they're now doing evolvables. VV is innovating the collecting experience with Evolvables, a new format for VV drops where all users start with a common and then burn each rarity to craft their way through each rarity to secure the elusive secret rare. Now, I'm trying to think, and this almost sounds somewhat like Guild of Guardians, where they said, hey, if you buy like a whole bunch of like a singular set of like a common of a certain character, you just burn it, you can get the other one, it reduces the supply. That's kind of the same concept with it. I went through like their blog for it, and there's a lot of people within the VV community that are massively stoked about this, massively. So very cool to see that some positive action is happening over in VV. I can't see any bears on the timeline. While we were going to 44,000 just a few days ago, and looking a month ago, we were at 63K, now up to 74. If we go a year ago, were we actually that low? Nah. Listen, that's kind of like somewhat of a disingenuous tweet. Like we were going down to 40. What, like 4 months ago? 4 months ago? All right. The other month maybe, but 4 months ago, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Mike Novograd says, after Trump's win, he sees a substantial shift in the energy of the crypto industry. This will bring hundreds of billions into the ecosystem. And it is kind of weird where there's all these claims being made from everybody, and we've like sat in the space, watched the market completely dump, questioning what the hell is going on. Are people not caring about this stuff? Is there actually any innovation being made? And now everybody's just like, flood the gates. G-Funk from Pixavault, imagine being able to build crypto products in the United States without fear for regulation by prosecution so much higher. Good morning. Again, you have to remember all the people that are building these things. Obviously, there's like DeFi and it's supposed to be decentralized systems, but people are building these things. There's been issues where people have been criminalized for just building something within the space that is meant to help other people. And it's, yeah. So again, some positive news coming out for most of the builders within the space. Farzan, this is just a general take on X as somebody who covers everything on X. I kind of agree with it. Things are now in motion. X will grow exponentially as people begin to understand that the site is true source of signal when it comes to information, not legacy media. Every presidential candidate will embrace X and podcasts moving forward. Having noticed how big of a difference it's made in the 2024 election, X will unequivocally become the town square of humanity. Listen, I kind of agree with it. If I'm going to give you like a different take for a perspective, you might use YouTube for tutorials of some sort where, I mean, if you guys remember back when I interviewed Aaron and Shara from Futureverse, I had like the 3 panels where we had the Year of the Rabbit background, right? And it was in motion. And I was like, I have no idea how the hell to do this. I went on YouTube. I found a thing that was Canva. I mixed matched it 65 times. Shout out to Juice, Xander, and Beldo that were helping me with that because I was messaging them. I'm like, hey guys, can you just like be in the Zoom call while I'm like trying to mess with this? And it took me a little bit, but use YouTube right for guides of some sort. You might not, but it's kind of the same thing where you're trying to find info about like a certain topic that you might not know much about. People just general takes you didn't really ask for, but hey, that's an interesting perspective. I do think that X is a place where a lot of people are going to go. And for like further to that point, when you're looking at social media as a whole, like I was on Facebook last night and this morning and just like scrolling, and I realized almost everything is like pages I don't follow, things that they think like I'm interested in that are showing me. Most people don't talk at all on that social app like whatsoever, where on Instagram people post photos and whatnot, but X is like more nuanced takes. And Tyler Scott Ward, who got like completely decimated from some of the crypto regulations before, I think he got like sued by the SEC, had to give up his business, all this other stuff. And he was saying, I hate politics, but the Democrat regime of the past 4 years ruined my life. Eat your heart out if you're upset about it. All I ever wanted to do was go back to work, and that's exactly what I'm about to do. Now, very interesting post here from Matty B talking about some things that Web3 teams are getting right. So let's see if he's right or heck wrong. So Parallel TCG's support for streamers and viewers. Parallel ran a month-long promotion in September to boost engagement on Twitch. Each week they popped into 3 random streamers' channels, giving away exclusive avatars to lucky viewers. I think we talked about that on the stream here. This encouraged fans to support streamers, while the parallel gaming category saw an uptick in viewer numbers. So curious to see if they actually did get like an uptick in viewer numbers regarding that, but I do think Parallel's probably the only team I've seen within the space that's really tried to push streamers and make it a thing, apart from like Off the Grid, which is like obvious where they had a lot of streamers that were a part of that, but Parallel's not like paying the streamers. They're just well, I mean, I think maybe some of them for like the pros or whatnot, but there's a lot of people that are out there just streaming and they're trying to support them, and I think that's cool. My Pet Hooligans timely content. My Pet Hooligans Web3 news in 60 seconds series keeps us informed and entertained. The character development of Hooli keeps fans hooked, and their videos are quick, fun watch. So I have seen My Pet Hooligan videos. The Hooli character, I do agree that he's gotten like a lot of attention, right? Like when you think of these different collections, and I say like Bored Ape Yacht Club, is there like a definitive character for it? And you would say Curtis, but you don't really know what Curtis sounds like unless you've played the Project Dragon, right? Or seen where the character is used in some of the IPs, but Hooli as like a talking animated character for things, I think it adds a whole nother dynamic. So agree with that take. If you haven't seen them yet, they just dropped the video encouraging fans game of the year. Okay, cool. And then Pudgy Penguin's GIF game. In 2024, conversations are shifting to GIFs. True. I just respond to everybody with like the Kesha true all the time. Expressing thoughts and moods in seconds, no words needed. And Pudgy Penguins has nailed it with a huge variety of penguin-themed GIFs. They've hit over 32 billion views. Whether it's a reaction mood or quick laugh, people are choosing Pudgy Penguins when they search for the perfect GIF. The GIF. Atari, root up 30%. Atari picked up good Mohawk Bear and Phoebe news. Yo, my man, that's that. Okay, so what happened though? Because I saw somebody sold it for like 0.1, and then I saw the sale happen, and then I saw your post. At the same time, yesterday, somebody swept like 30 Party Bears on Tradeverse of all places. And I was like, damn. And I think it was like almost $2,000 that were spent on that. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Now, I want to jump over to realizing that there is like literally no news in Canada about crypto, like literally whatsoever. So I went to Cointelegraph and CoinDesk, right? And they got like a Canada news section for this because they know we're here and waiting to read about it, right? So November 3rd, Bitcoin looks ripe for a rebound, and so do ETH, Doge, LTC, and XMR. Absolutely nothing to do with Canada. Macro factors in Canada and US good for Bitcoin's price. WonderFi CEO, which we've highlighted Dean yesterday, I believe, where he was going on about them offering like a like $75 for people that hold Pudgy Penguin. So again, I think WonderFi and Dean is interesting, but it feels like more of like an opinion piece. But again, I guess it's Canadian. October, the end of October, Canadians wary of adopting digital dollar. Bank of Canada fines. I thought there was like news. The Bank of Canada is not even looking at CBDCs whatsoever. AI risks financial stability, warns Indian central bank governor. What the hell does that have to do with Canada? Australia, Canada, and Colombia were right to pause CBDC plans, and so there we go. This is like an opinion piece, but that was also a news story for a while ago. Wheat for 0.14, and I instantly bought for 0.26. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Were you looking for that, or did it just like pop up? Because man must have been sitting on some liquidity to pull that. Take it, baby. And then going over to CoinDesk here, kind of the same thing. Microsoft urges shareholders to vote against Bitcoin proposal. Has nothing to do with Canada. Canada moves away from retail CBDC, shifts focus to broader payments. Okay, this is back in like September. And now I go all the way back to May. Canada's crypto king and associate arrested, charged with fraud and alleged 30 million Ponzi scheme. 30 million. Do you know how many fluffs we could buy with $30 million, Mr. Atari? Holy sweet shenanigans, my Brumalachi. So just final things as we're wrapping up here. Because again, the timeline's literally just like political takes nonstop. People are fighting. It's an absolute wild time. And I'm trying to sit here. I'm like, listen, I want to see some crypto takes, and that's it. You know what I mean? We're just sitting back trying to see. But I don't think anybody decided they were going to launch any big news as of yesterday. But I did see an article that came out from Futureverse that was talking about how they were like reaching out to like Hollywood and starting to work together and how that change is happening, where like at the same time half my timeline's like, yo, they had the Avengers out together that were like endorsing presidential candidates, and yeah, Hollywood's dead and people don't care about these opinions. Honestly, that's really like my only take on the election is like, it's so weird that everybody's like, hey, here's who I'm voting for. Go vote for it. And if you don't, well, you suck and you're awful. And it's just like, bro, what are we doing? What are we doing? Couldn't pass it up, bro. You know, I always stay ready. Yeah, a little bit of ready verse. True. Ready for the ready verse. So crypto market cap is a total up about 6% on the day. The volume up 125%. I want to say that it was like maybe $1 billion in inflows for one of like BlackRock's ETFs. I saw the tweet. I don't know if I ended up saving that, so apologies for not bringing it up here. Bitcoin dominance still about 60% here. Yo, Gigabit, what's going on? How are we? Did you have breakfast today? That's, listen, the only question of the day. Did you have breakfast today, or are you still waiting for it? Atari, I'm having a ton of fun on Ape, just trading NFTs for dollars. It's mostly rugs, but bro, I'm here to have fun. Listen, Atari is out there playing on Ape Chain. Nice to see you. Which actually, on that point, let me bring up Magic Eden here, and we'll take a quick gander through some of the NFTs and whatnot. Absolutely, sir. Eggs and toast. Hell yeah. Now, is it avocado toast or just normal toast? So trending coins, Bitcoin up 6%. Some Trump token got absolutely obliterated. Holy. Okay, so actually on this topic, I have to ask, right? Because I don't really do anything with memes. Like I just, it's not my cup of tea. I totally love that people are doing well within it. But I remember back when like there was coins like Joeing, like off of like Boeing, like the planes that were having all those issues, and Joe Biden, and that was a thing. And I don't know if there was like a Jover or anything like that, but all these like political coins and memes in general, like it feels like they're so short-lived if there's not a way for it to get like re-brought back up in any sort of way, where there was also that peanut story with the squirrel. But Doge having a huge day. The grass, why is grass doing so well? I'm so confused by that. It's absolutely nuts. But greed index going up a little bit. Ethereum up like 7% on the 24 hours. Bitcoin up 6%. Solana up 10%. So again, the question, right? The big three, everybody says, oh, well, is Solana, Ethereum, or Bitcoin going to outperform? And I mean, arguably, just based off the market caps, you'd probably say Solana. And when you're looking at the 24 hours comparatively, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin. This is why I pay so much attention to market caps at this point, and why I think some things are like absolutely crazy. Where like the monkey collection on ApeCoin was this had like a market cap of like $1 billion or something, right? And it's in an NFT that we don't know if anything else is coming for. And that's, part of my problem with looking at NFTs, where before I was so open, really getting into everything over the past several years, is we don't know the lifespan of any of this stuff. So you're really taking like a massive gamble, especially if there isn't a huge laid out plan, something where these founders are building something, or if it's just collectively saying, we like it for the art, and that is it. Where O'Peppin, Jack Butcher, if you're familiar with that artist, that's an example of one that I would say like, has really nailed, like, hey, we're just focusing on the art, as is Xcopy. There's a lot of other artists we could throw in there, but I mean, for like O'Peppin, I was looking at this the other day because one of the ones that I do like from this, and if anybody's not seen this collection, basically they have a baseline character that they have different opportunities to enter a raffle, I think, and then your edition would then get changed into whatever that specific set piece is. And there's a lot of individuals, like artists and whatnot, that pair with it. So like this is an unrevealed O'Peppin. So if you want to get this, then that it would just be like this character that's just for art, and my thing's slightly in the way, so I apologize. But one of the ones that they did was with Pudgy Penguins. And so you're like, okay, you'd have one of those baseline models and you could end up with a Pudgy character. These are going for like what? 1.49 ETH is like a decent chunk of capital, is it not? Yeah, I mean like $4,000 for one of these. But again, people are just buying it for the art and saying, hey, this is one of the only official Pudgy Penguins collabs out there. And the renaissance of just like the artist is coming back. What's the situation? Jimmy's just airdropped serums yesterday. There's no way Jimmy's launched another collection of some sort. Serums? Okay, dude, listen, we're following the BAYC playbook. But apparently it's working, up 31%. I think the apes want to see a few successful projects. Most will rug, but will be a few winners. And that was on the first day that Ape Chain came out. That was arguably one of the biggest conversation and talking points, was people saying, well, for these meme coins or something, we need to band together to make one really noticeable and break off from like just the Ape Chain ecosystem or echo chamber and expand beyond, per se. So looking at this, ApeC was a collection that they dropped like half their collection. They've had 500 sales. Looks like it's doing all right. I have no idea what the hell Bert is. Atari God talking a little bit about the Jimmy collection, which is a play off of the characters kind of used in the Dookie Dash lore, even though it was very, very short at the time. Chimpers, what the hell is this? Dive into the Diamond Fleece collection by Chimpers. Epic art, lore, music. I remember this, but I don't know what the hell a Diamond Mint Pass is, unless this is this a scam or is this like legit? Because Chimpers is cool. So ends in 60 days. It's only $10. Well, so that goes back to the point of people just buying things for the sake of like liking them and not having to pay an exorbitant amount of gas. Anytime you do a transaction on ETH, it's like, $5 to $10. I staked some of like the emergence passes the other day, and honestly, the projection was like it was going to cost me like $5 plus per time to stake, and I think it only ended up costing like $2 or $3, and I had like 10 or 11 passes. So it was like, I thought it was going to be like $100, but it was like 20. So it was like, all right, that's fine. But otherwise, listen, we're getting off the through. Reed is about to drop a collection, bullish on it. I own every collection in the top 25. Pray for me. Yo, okay, this man's going crazy on it. Most of rugs, I own all that shit. Hell yeah. Apes on apes. Okay, Let's switch over from ApeCoin and just see what else is going on. So Bitcoin Puppet still dominating the top NFT collections. 14 sales in the past day for this. If we go for the past 30, 635 at 0.137. Bitcoin is actually a lot. I don't know if can we see these things where it shows like the dollar value? Or is that just like, I wish these things just showed what the dollar value was, because now I'm going to have to Google, okay, I'm just going to do it. Bitcoin to Canadian. Listen, we'll make it spicy here. We'll do it in Canadian dollars. So 0.137. 0.137. So for one of the Bitcoin puppets, it's $14,000 Canadian for one of these. And I remember when they came out. I totally remember when they came out. And I was like, okay, this is This is very interesting as it's kind of got like the loose Cool Cats type of feel where there was a few different collections, and it's not just Cool Cats. I'm trying to think of like Wonder Pals, right? That was another one that Cool Cats like kind of partnered with or like endorsed that was very, very similar. But the basic character outline, some kind of crazy traits that are a little bit arguably more mature over things. But then the collection ended up rocking and rolling, and people really found a community, a home, whatever you have with it, and they've continued to dominate. Node Monkeys was one that was way ahead of Bitcoin Puppet. So the flipping happened. This was the battle between these two collections was really something that was similar to the Bored Apes versus CryptoPunks on Ethereum, both when they were, well, more specifically when apes were really getting a bid. CryptoPunks have always had a bid, but on the climb for Bored Apes, very, very noticeable. But Node Monkeys at a point, if we can, like, can we see the activity like overall here, or how does this look? Sales offer, select all. We're not going to have like a sales history of this, but at one point, I think these were going for like almost half a Bitcoin. So these are like really, really down comparatively. And like, I mean, if I like, can I click on these and see like the price history? I don't really use Magic Eden, to be totally honest. So keep that in mind. There's listings. This person is really trying to sell this. Holy moly. Listing. 6 days ago. This person is just spamming listings. Offer accepted. Buying broadcast. I'm still trying. This thing I think is getting flipped. So yeah, I mean, at one point this went for one. No, that was a listing. Excuse me. We almost got caught. It didn't happen. But yeah. So again, at one point though, I thought these were higher. Maybe I'm completely wrong with that. But pretty positive. We go over to the Ethereum side, which do recall that there was like a coalition of some sort where everybody that was a notable collection in ETH got together and said, hey, we're going to enforce royalties. We're jumping over to Magic Eden. And then, like, the whole royalty conversation, like, completely died after that. True. There's a new ordinal minting scene that's going to melt faces. I would keep an eye on it. They're called Airheads. I'll be minting them. Magic Eden takes a little bit getting used to, but it's awesome once you get used to navigating. Hell yeah. Yeah, I need to pay a little bit more attention. Because, again, a lot of people are calling it for, like, the Magic Eden airdrop, where if you're buying and selling on this marketplace, you get these diamond rewards. And if that ends up performing sort of well, then that would be looking good. Pudgy Penguin's floor on the 30 days down 18%, which is kind of strange. And there's, so to your point about saying there's a new ordinal mint coming soon that's going to melt faces, I'm seeing takes as well where people are saying, oh, like Pudgy Penguins are going to be so obvious. I don't know why people are not getting into that. And like, I agree to a point, right? Like I absolutely agree to a point. But at the same time, when you're looking at the collections that are already at like in a sizable position, it's the same conversation around Bored Apes, right? Is like, you still have people that originally minted it. And how many new people are going to want to jump into a collection for $21,000? If everybody's suddenly getting rich and having a bunch of capital to spend, you know, listen, I would like kind of lean into like, sure. But then, you know, this is real-time reaction. I'm thinking of like people that buy like a truck, right? They buy a truck, they spend like $50,000 to $100,000 and they use it every day, right? But then you have insurance on top of that and everything else. So, I mean, if you're using it for the sake of like buying it as like a collectible or a potential return at some point, do I hate it? I don't know. But I do find it, I don't know if we've fully seen the opportunity for NFTs, where we can look back and say back in 21, 22, that there was a lot of collections that got airdrops, and that was very much worth it. But have they continued in the same way? A lot of them have introduced staking of some sort. How long does that well run for? Because at some point, you're going to have to either grab a new collection that's coming out and then offer your holders incentives of that, or do a completely different business model. I mean, I don't know, right? So what does DeFi crypto as a whole really hold for the future? And that's the question that we have to ask as people are saying certain things are like undervalued, like a Pudgy Penguin for $21,000. Which it could be. It very well could be, but we have to guess. I'm everywhere, Schiller. DM's always open. I learned a lot from you. Yo, my man, I appreciate you coming through, and I appreciate you also doing the spaces. Dude, listen, I know that you don't like recording those, but if I can't make those Sunday night ones, I'm like, you know, I would genuinely listen back to some of them, but I know that you guys don't want to have them where they are recorded. Okay, so I'm just going over OpenSea. I was just trying to see if there's any last points to make. Proof Collective. So this was one that there were passes that were stole that were really just about, we're going to do art, right? And these were going for, I think, 100 ETH at a point. Go look at this. Yeah, average price of 109 ETH back in April of 2022. And now they are going for 0.63 ETH. And so this is kind of the question I have, where there was utility with the proof. There was airdrops. There was all the speculation of what it could be. And if it wasn't able to sustain that, which obviously there's Kevin Rose and other like situations that happened around that where that didn't end up being the case, but then you just don't have the price action that's sustained. But at a point, you know, in a specific snapshot in time, you think it's the greatest thing ever. And so for myself, I've been like a lot more hesitant, a lot more kind of watching, observing, trying to be the sponge, if you will, regarding all of this stuff. And it's, you know, it's interesting watching how the market turns, navigates, all that kind of crazy stuff. But that's going to be it for this edition of XFeed. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on through. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And of course, if you're wanting to watch back to any of the ones previously within the week, be sure to check out that live feed. Atari, thank you for coming through. Gigabit, you as well. And I don't know if there was anybody else in here that came through today, but if you're watching on the replay, thanks so much, guys.